Welcome to the ManTFup podcast. I'm Kimmy B.
And Lenny.
Now, before we go any further, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and follow on all of our social media channels. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. It's at ManTFupTV. You can follow us or you can listen on any of the podcast channels like Apple, Buzzsprout, iHeart, Spotify, Google. Are there other ones? Pandora. Did I say Pandora already? YouTube. Like I said, we are everywhere. We've gotten much more active. Shout out to our girl, Angeli, on Instagram, too. So you can comment on any of the clips that you happen to see. But we love your feedback. And I'm going to let Lenny give his little plug that he loves to give.
I have a plug? Oh, yeah. Now I remember. Oh, it's been so long. If you have any comments you want to email us, send them to KemmyB@ManTFupTV.com.
Wow. That was terrible, and you clearly have a lot going on in your life.
Yes.
But listen, we're going to make today cathartic. This is going to be your nice little outlet from all real things.
Let's hope so.
So Lenny's actually found the TikTok of the day, courtesy of Nestor. So who is like our jack of all trades, master of all trades, by the way. I know that's not the saying, but you get the point. So go ahead. What is this TikTok clip about?
I'm going to play it for you.
Okay, perfect.
If I could only figure out how to use my phone.
This is the reason TikTok is so addictive. This app is designed to abuse your dopamine system. Dopamine is a chemical in our brain that drives the reward and motivation circuits, and our brain is designed to always want to get as much dopamine as possible. So this is what social media apps do. They are designed to give you as much dopamine as possible so that our brain gets tricked into thinking that this is all it wants to do. And this is exactly why an app like TikTok uses primarily short videos. Shorter videos means more videos means more dopamine. And so your brain starts to lose interest in doing anything else that gives it less dopamine, which is practically everything that exists in the world. Studying, working, even hanging out with your friends. And all that you really want to do is sit at home and watch TikTok videos because your brain is fried to the point where you don't have the attention span to do anything else. Check out my YouTube channel for more.
So frightening. It's literally, the man literally just said, they designed TikTok to get you addicted.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's just like any other addiction. And it's not just TikTok. It's Instagram and Facebook. They're all following along these lines.
So does it, when you produce dopamine like this, I'm wondering if it like rewire, because you know, like that's the whole deal. Like when you do certain drugs, they immediately rewire your brain. Like there's certain drugs though that like the reason why they're so addictive is because the first time you take them, they kind of rewire your chemical output like in your brain. Like your body literally will never be the same again. I'm not saying that that's what TikTok does, but it's so scary to hear that because we are seeing it. And there's a reason why, you know, we talk about going down the rabbit hole, right? Like, oh, what happened? Like it's a running joke. It's a running joke amongst adults, amongst teens. Like, oh, I went on to see one video, somebody sent me a link, and the next thing you know, I was all the way in the rabbit hole, and 2 hours went by, and I hadn't looked up from my phone, you know? And now you've lost 2 hours of your life that you can never get back. And when I think about the content, no offense to TikTok creators, but not being able to get back 2 hours of like, there's very little you're putting out there that's worth 2 hours of my life, yet I continue to give it to you.
But you just watched 280 videos.
I know.
You know,
I know.
It's scary. It's scary that we're all using it. I mean, look, I'm 55 years old and I'm on it. I'm not really. I'm trying to monetize it.
Yeah.
Because it is so popular, but it's scary for my kids. It's scary. It's scary that it's taking over society and nobody seems to give a fuck.
Well, Len, you and I have had many conversations. Lenny and I are both big documentary watchers, right? We love to watch kind of informational videos and things like that. You're more of a history guy, but if something, you know, that is relevant to pop culture or the world today pops up and you think that it's worth watching or you get good reviews about it, you'll check it out. I know you recommended The Great Hack. to me, and then I had watched this. So I told you I went down the rabbit hole. Only I went down like the documentary rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I watched The Great Hack, then I watched The Social Dilemma, and then there's the other one, Don't Look Up. That's more of a scripted film, but basically about, you know, the maniacal state of the world right now and the level of belief that we have put into everything we see on the internet, as opposed to actually using our highly developed brains to do actual
highly
research.
Developed that we use less than 3% of.
Well, but it's amazing what you can do with just that 3%. Imagine if you engaged a little bit more. But hearing that man talk and say that we are frying our brains with the place that we're going for information is just
here's the
frightening.
You might be old enough to remember before social media.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was always the thing when you wanted to learn something new and you wanted to do this, and what was the easiest way to make a habit? How long did it take to create a habit for yourself? What do they say? 3 weeks? If you do something every day for 3 weeks,
though, right? Yeah.
If you do something every day for 3 weeks, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So look what they've done. They said these guys have engineered this. So everybody logs into social media every day. Most people do it first thing when they wake up. They do it when the minute they sit down, the minute they stop doing something else, their phone is up.
But look, we're sitting here shooting a podcast, and I've got we have 3 devices between us. I've got an iWatch that keeps buzzing, and I'm looking, and I'm getting news alerts that I'm sure if I click on the link are either going to take me to, you know, some app or my social media.
Yeah, so if it takes 3 weeks to learn a habit, and you're on social media from the time you're 11 years old, 12 years old, you know, and they've coordinated to let's not make videos for more than 30 seconds. We know that the optimum video time is 30 seconds. People will watch that full video for 30 seconds. They might not watch a minute. They might not watch 15-second videos too much, but they'll watch that 30-second video. So we now take that 30-second video to entertain you, which goes to what he says. You see this video, you're like, fuck it, you're laughing. Then they feed you another video that's similar to it for another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're getting a head rush. You become an addict. You're an addict, a social media addict. And they know what your favorite type of addiction is. If you like porn, you get porn. If you like motorcycles, you get motorcycles. If you like, you know,
news,
whatever, that's what you
get.
The
sky is falling. That's
you like kook stuff.
But we were talking about it again, kind of spinning off of the documentaries and things like that. Like, you have people giving us this information, so we can't claim willful. Well, I guess it's willful ignorance at this point then, because the info is out there on the negative effects of social media. But what scares me the most is that you have the people who've created these things telling you now why they were created. You know, in the Social Dilemma, you've got all these bigwigs from the largest tech companies on the planet basically saying, mea culpa, like, our bad. We set out to do this one thing, and we thought it was altruistic. We wanted to spread love. We wanted to spread good vibes. Like, this is Facebook in particular, you know, the thumbs up button we thought would be absolutely great. You know, notice there's no thumbs down, right, on Facebook. It's a thumbs up, and now they've got the other different emojis that you can leave. Or like on Instagram, it's a heart. There's no dislike on IG, right? But they're saying that somehow, and you made a great point. You were like, yeah, they figured out how to monetize it. And now that's it's completely changed the dynamic of how and why we use these things. But it scares me for kids because, you know, older people that are that are aging out of the workforce or are headed for retirement can choose to use or not use social media, right? They can go to actual, I don't want to say news sources, but if you want to get up to date, you can get newspapers delivered to your house. You can use the internet and you can search things, right? You don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be on Instagram. You certainly don't have to be on TikTok or any of the other million apps we have. But for kids, it feels like now, even if you don't want your children on it, they have to be social media literate in order to position themselves for a good job down the line, because it feels like almost every industry right now is starting to look into your social media acumen. They're using it to, determine your behavior, your ability to utilize this platform when dealing with clients or possibly, beyond even marketing. So it's kind of like it's become an instrumental tool beyond just entertainment. And it's like, how do you now say, no, don't use that, but you're gonna need to use it at some point because it's not going anywhere. Like, you're in marketing, you have a brand, and this is really where you advertise.
Absolutely. The monetization came when they realized, oh, all these people are like a captive audience. But the other thing about social media that I don't think the younger generation is really understanding is it's not open to all aspects of the world. It's controlled by people, and they decide what you see and what you don't see. So I think a lot of the kids today think like, oh, wow, Instagram, you can just see everything, but
not realize that it's a curated experience.
Yes, this is a movie. This is a movie experience just with live people. Mm-hmm. It's someone is picking what you get to see, and someone is picking what they get to see.
And there's a million other posts being left on the quote unquote cutting room floor.
Yes, absolutely. You can't just go on. Now, I mean, when it comes to Google, you can go on and search for something and almost get, 90% of what might be out there on the web. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. You can get it.
Yeah, like whatever they think you're going to like the most will come up closer to the top. But if you keep going through it, if you scroll down
if you type in, the Nazi Party on Google, it's not getting filtered out. You're going to learn what the Nazi Party is. If you type that in on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to get your account banned. So it's like, I don't think people realize that it's private. It's a privately owned company, and it's it's publicly owned, but privately run by people, and they control what's going on. So the narrative they want to feed you, they're going to feed you. And I mean, my daughter is very much into fitness right now, and she's getting all these fitness things, and she's like, oh, but and that's all right, Dad. I know what's going on. It's funny. My wife showed me this meme the other day. That's stuff a little tangent, little tangent. So.
Okay, wait. Yep. Let me prepare myself.
About my 14-year-old.
Okay.
Hey, me and my wife couldn't be more proud of our 14-year-old. He now knows everything. We don't ever have to tell him anything ever again because he knows more than me and more than my husband, and we don't ever have to talk to him again. And it's kind of the way it is. And now they're doubly empowered because they feel like they're getting guidance from people on social media. Mm-hmm. Like my daughter gets all these workout tips. Yeah. It's not like she's following, and I've sent her some like real people that are into it, like Jillian Michaels, for instance, or
forever. She's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, these people are like staples.
As opposed to somebody with that.
Yeah. Some kook who's thinking up, oh, if you do this, it'll do this. There's no research in that. I have one lady that we follow at Dynamism that, does a lot of just natural working out without weights and everything, and she's like IBBF ready,
Yeah.
And she doesn't use any of that. And I send that to my daughter because my daughter works out in the living room or in the bedroom or in the garage or wherever she can. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff you need. Oh, well, I don't want to do core now. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, because she gets on these tangents of people.
When there's different trends and, and then once you start liking and saving and then posting in your Insta story.
Yes, then you get that trend more and more. And over.
Yeah, so now you think, oh, this is what everybody's doing, not realizing that.
Absolutely, that there's more out there, and that might not be the best. Who was it? Herschel Walker. Is it Herschel Walker that never
lifted weights?
He always did.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there's some guys I think.
But I mean, he always did natural body. I mean, your body weighs 200 pounds or 150 pounds or 130 pounds. There's a lot. I mean, you do push-ups.
But you also have Ocho And you have Marvin Harrison who will praise the McDonald's diet, right?
Yeah.
And they were these elite level, Marvin is a Hall of Fame wide receiver and never ate a healthy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have some of these people that can get away with certain things. But yes, like when it comes to
if you want to be healthy, you don't need to go to a gym.
Yeah, no. You can definitely use your own body weight. I mean, there's calisthenics. There's people.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever, sorry to say this, but have you seen people in prison?
Yeah.
They don't all have weights. Sometimes it's just push-ups in there, when you're on lockdown for 23 hours a day. It's push-ups and sit-ups.
And if you're small, you're running. What?
I gotta stop teeing you up for these moments that I end up having to make sure we don't post on Instagram. Anyway, but yeah.
But yeah, that social media is feeding them, and they're addicted.
Well, yeah, and we've discussed this before, and we were saying it with Nestor too. It's like, when you're talking about that documentary, The Social Dilemma, one of the biggest takeaways for me was you had all these people who helped create these platforms who are looking in this camera straight on and saying, I do not let my children use social media. And they say it repeatedly. In our house, we do not let our children use social media. Then some of them take it one step further, and it's like, you can have your phone for 1 hour out of the evening, you know what I mean? Or when everybody comes home, they go in a lockbox and we have dinner together, and you might get your phone for 30 minutes after homework is done and whatever else. But beyond that, we are not allowing you to overindulge in this tool, right? That has also become an extension of most people's persons. I didn't have a phone for 4 days.
Yeah, I know you were freaking out.
It was horrifying. Part of that is business, you know what I mean? Because now sometimes I was locked out of my work emails because of authenticator.
But you also couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, no, I mean, what was funny was, it's terrible to say. I really just didn't have emails and I couldn't call people.
Oh, yeah, okay. Blame it on business.
But yeah. No, I had access to Instagram, sort of, but then you have to remember your password, which is a whole other thing. But no, there's a lot of kids who feel separation and anxiety when they're away from not only their device, but when they can't log into Instagram, when they can't log in. I told you, I was at the theater one night and there's a kid sitting there. You can tell he's there with either a group of other theater kids, and a good hour into the play, the back row lights up and he's out there scrolling Instagram, and I'm like, my man, are you kidding me right now? You're watching a Tony Award-winning play. And it's literally a play about social media. It was Dear Evan Hansen, which has to do with, and I was like, if this isn't ironic, I don't know what is.
Back in the day, that kid would have got popped by his parents, but now their parents aren't allowed to pop them.
Yeah, or I don't even think the parents were there, which was even better, But, Nestor agreed with those people who helped create these social platforms, because it's so detrimental to a healthy, I think, self-image. It's detrimental to a healthy, communicative, response. It just it's harmful in so many ways, and I know that's hard to hear, but it's truthful. We're talking about a generation of kids who don't know how to communicate with one another. They don't know how to communicate with adults. How often we have adults too. Let's be clear, because social media has been around long enough. How many times are you out, right? And you're looking at that couple that's out to dinner with each other, and they're both literally on their phones, not talking, scrolling, and you're like, oh my God, please don't ever let
Or they pull out their phone and they take a picture of their dinner.
Well, listen, I do
that. Drives me nuts.
You did it the other day and sent me a picture. Look, I'm taking pictures of my food. You did. I have it. Don't make me.
Show me. I dare you.
Don't make me.
I dare you. I don't think you have it.
I most definitely do, Len. But we're in the middle of the podcast.
First of all, that was a text.
Yeah.
To a particular person.
Yeah.
It was not put out there to show the world that follows me what I'm having.
I'm helping restaurants when I do it.
I feel.
I'm supporting them. Hey, I'm tagging it and whatever. Can I tell you something though? I'm at a point in my life where it's exhausting. Legit. When I go to a concert, I want to just go to a concert and enjoy the concert. And I feel obligated to take out my phone and take pictures and post in my Insta story, because 9 times out of 10, I'm there because it's work. And then it's I missed the fucking show. I got to go back and watch my videos of the concert that I was actually at to see what happened during the concert I was at. Because I was missing it because I was zooming in and zooming out and pressing stop and save.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes, it's a lot like that at birthday parties and stuff like that too. It's everybody's It's ridiculous.
But if you ask somebody at the end of that birthday party what the highlight was, they couldn't tell you. They'd have to go through their camera roll and be like, oh my God, I didn't know that there were flamenco dancers. Like, what do you mean you didn't know? You danced with them. Oh, I was videotaping. I must have been shooting a TikTok. I don't like...
Yeah, well, we did some research for this from like the Man Show and stuff, and they said some stuff 20 years ago that has clearly come true. And you know how I feel about the pussification of America. And, everybody's all about their feelings and their this and their that. We are letting our generation of children right now set themselves up for the biggest failure and the biggest depression.
Well, they already are.
Ever. Because, God forbid, social media goes down for a day or two. Teenage suicide is going to go through the roof. It's there's kids that literally live through this. We've talked about this on a few shows, but it's dangerous.
But now we know why. You have somebody here telling you that it's because these platforms were set up to literally affect the chemicals in your body to make you addicted to using them. So while we're sitting here focused on the opioid epidemic, while we're talking about a global pandemic, right? We're worried about all of these things. We are silently letting
this happen to our kids.
Because we're so focused on whatever else. But and I know that it's something that we have discussed in the past, but it goes back to what we were just talking about. When you go out to dinner and you're watching these parents, and I understand kids can be a lot, right? Like
they're annoying.
I'm a talker still to this day. We know that. It's a good thing that's how I make my money. But at the same time, engaging your children in that way at the dinner table is invaluable for them. But parents have gotten to that place where they're just like, please take the iPad, go sit outside. Like I told you, I was at Houston's one day, and there was a couple that came in, and there were 2 seats at the bar, and clearly kids can't really sit at the bar, right? Like that's just, you don't do that. And they had a stack of devices that were charged up, and they literally gave each kid an iPad, and they had like a spare one just in case one went down. Yeah. And they were like, go outside, and they have that little seating area outside at the one in Aventura with the Adirondack chairs. And those kids just grabbed those iPads and went right outside, and mom and dad sat there, and they could keep an eye on them. And, in theory, you're like, oh, well, everybody gets to enjoy it. But then I sat down and I was like, these kids are missing out on parent time. They're missing out on conversation.
Besides that, some fucking alien is programming them. Okay? It's like, forget about the fact that they're missing out on time with mom and dad.
You're part of the problem. You're part of
some alien. I'm serious.
Who's the alien?
Mark Zuckerberg. Who else would be the alien?
That's the clip right there.
Who else would be the alien? But you have people who, it's not only the fact that someone is in control of what you're seeing, it's the people who are. It's not like these people weren't elected. They weren't chosen by the populace. These are just fucking eccentric billionaires that like to fuck with people.
But okay, so my question is this, because we're making this sound very, very
dangerous?
Well, I understand that, but no, there's nefarious, like that there's this intent to do
Let me
evil.
just tell you this. If I had the power, to make 1 million people go outside in their lawn and jump up and down like idiots, I might do it just for fun.
Well,
might do it just for fun.
You are nefarious.
I'm just saying. And there's some shit you would do just for fun. Listen, if you.
I thought it's an algorithm, though. It's a mathematical equation. There's not a person that's designated to Kimmy B that's going, show her this, show her that, show her this.
No, I get it. But the algorithm was built for that. And whatever you plug in the beginning of that algorithm, like if they take.
Again, it's me. It's my interest. It's what I like. It's
yes and no. Yes and no. They have the ability to show you everything.
But then this is where conversations with adults, this is where conversations with other people, conversations with individuals who don't think like you, teach you discernment, right? Like that's the benefit that I think these next generations are not going to have.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because again, if all their interaction is here, you're losing that ability to discern truth from fiction,
As a parent, I want to instill on my kids. Back to your Houston's thing, though. When Nick was 3, now 26, when he was 3, and we went out to dinner, we all had to take turns taking him for a walk. There'd be 10 of us at the table. He'd be walked for 40 minutes.
Yep, just to keep him.
By 10 different people because he couldn't sit in a chair.
Yeah.
Hello, he's a 3-year-old boy.
Yep.
He's not supposed to.
Yep.
It's normal.
Yeah.
I had...
wow, I love that you said that. Like, when you think about it, like, we've got these kids that will sit and people are like, oh, they're so well behaved. Like, look, they just sat there and they watched Peppa the Pig or whatever. And it's like, that's not what...
Not sitting there. You're drugging them.
Kids.
You're drugging your kid. You're giving your kid fucking a half a fucking thing of Benadryl and putting them in a chair when you hand them a phone. That's what you're doing. You're drugging them by letting them get this influence from a monitor of something else. I think it's kind of a proven thing. I mean, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know anything about him.
The clip that we played.
Yeah, the clip that we played.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is. I don't know. But it's a proven fact that if you get stimulated in a certain way, your brain releases chemicals.
Yeah.
When you are happy, your brain releases chemicals.
Yeah, and you want that over and over and over and over
Yes.
and over again.
So if you can stimulate that, it's like somebody rolling with a Vicks thing, I mean, it's the same thing.
I mean, playing devil's advocate, I will say this. We clearly have a generation of very computer literate individuals. Like, I love the fact that you have kids out here, that are teaching themselves coding and are breaking apart computers and, you know what I mean? Because that's the future. That is the blue collar work, in my personal opinion, of the future. We've discussed this. You're always going to need people who are labor intensive workers. We're always going to need people that do construction. We're always going to need plumbers and electricians. But the other side of blue collar work is evolving, and it's going to be folks that need to be able to maintain these massive information systems, right? It's going to be coding. Like, that is going to be what the future work is. And you've got a generation of kids who have said, okay, y'all don't want to teach us this in school. We're going to teach ourselves, because they spend so much time. They want to update their gigabytes. Their parents won't buy them a new computer, so they got to go and super rig the one that they got, right? Because they want to game a little longer. They, whatever it is. The new PS5 came out and it takes more memory than what they've got. So they're becoming very resourceful in that sense. But on the flip side of it, when it comes to the actual social media, like you said, where it scares me is it's becoming something that's so necessary, in terms of just everyday life and business, unfortunately, that it's like, I don't know how you put a limit or a hard control on that without limiting them somewhere down the line, right? And that's what I don't like about it, is that they're almost making it where you need it to be successful in the future, and that's scary.
This as a tool, just like a calculator or anything else, this as a tool is the most powerful thing that anyone has ever seen, if it's used for that. But if you give it to a child and they just plug into the social media aspect of it, they don't even realize what they're holding in their hand. Yeah. I mean, if this would have came out 30 years ago, we'd have flying cars right now. Okay? Just that's the advancement of technology now is happening at such a fast pace because we're using technology to help us advance it. So if we had this when we went to the moon, if they had this phone,
we would know for sure, because there'd be pictures of it.
We would be living on Mars by now.
Damn it.
We would be living on Mars by now.
There'd be none. Did we really land on the moon?
Maybe.
We've had some people in this room that would, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's... There's some kook among us.
But no, it just...
We might not have.
I don't know, Len, though. It just goes back to, when you look at social media, like there's always, and even just the internet. I'm a big fan of BuzzFeed just because BuzzFeed always has these really quirky articles. But the debates and the conversations between boomers and millennials and Gen Z are like out of control, and everybody's pointing fingers at who's doing things wrong and who's doing things right. And at the end of the day, whatever you don't like in the younger generations, we only have ourselves to blame for.
Absolutely.
Right? Like there's all of our conversations come back to accountability, because at the end of the day, when we talk about manning the fuck up, it's about I think that is what I've learned from doing this podcast with you and all of our conversations. Accountability. Like that is just, when we talk about manning the fuck up, whatever that looks like, at the end of the day, it's just being accountable for your role in whatever it is that you're disgruntled about, and whatever it is that you are happy about, and whatever it is that you want to see change. Like stop bitching about shit and do something to get the outcome that you want, right? Like, and we've just created this world where everybody just complains and points
blames
fingers
everybody
and
else.
blames everybody else. But it's like, you got to look at your role and how we got to where we're at. And again, it goes back to the parents that said, please ain't this. You know what I mean? So your hover parents, you want to give your kids the best of everything, that you did all of these things, yet the one thing they really need in their life is the conversation, the communication, the time, and that commitment from you to give them some basic tools that a phone can't give them. And again, that's discernment. That's the ability to be objective. When you're scrolling Instagram, objectivity is so critical in being able to discern between reality and photos, right? Like, we talk about it all the time. People get so upset and unhappy with their own existence because they're being fed these images of perfection, whether that's, body image, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's, accomplishment in business, right? Like I see the Grant Cardones and who's the other guy that you guys love?
First of all, don't put us in the category of loving people.
No, but like the team here, like a lot of the guys on the team listen to, Gary V, like investment podcasts and things. I'm not saying that anybody loves them, but
Gary V's actually pretty good.
But like Gary V pops up on my thing, Grant Cardone pops up on my thing. Tony Robbins doesn't too much, but I put him in that category, But you see these things, 10x, 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 10x. But again, if your parent or your mentors or the people that you look up to didn't instill in you the innate drive to go out and put that energy and effort into getting that 10x, you're never going to get it. You don't get it just scrolling.
There's
right?
a reason they're called 1%ers.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
But they're out here selling the dream to everybody.
That's how they became a 1%er.
Facts.
You're paying them.
Facts. But that's the point. But these people, you know what I'm saying? Like, without that discernment and going, okay, cool. Like, they all have the same message, by the way. Right? Like.
Yeah.
And it's
work. It's called work hard.
And your mentality,
yes.
right? You've got to see yourself they all talk about manifestation. They all talk about the power of your words, speaking the life you want into existence. And then how do you do that? By backing it up with action. Like, they all have the same message. Shonda Burns with The Secrets got the same message. They all got the same message. And yet we continue to pay them millions of dollars a year. We continue to go to these lectures. They're giving it to you, but you're so caught into, scrolling. So you see the Gary V 60-second clip, right? That makes you're motivated. But then you keep scrolling and now you see the private jet and you're like, ooh. And then you keep scrolling, you see somebody else that's, on a trip in Mykonos turning up and popping bottles. And now you're sad because that's not you. You're forgetting the video you saw 60 seconds ago of Gary Vee that had you super hyped to go out and get all those other things. Yes. So it's just like, it's this detrimental cycle.
On a mental roller
Sorry, I'm
coaster.
yelling.
You're living on a mental roller coaster. When you're on there, you're scrolling. And not that there's anything bad, but like you're scrolling and you see, wow, I really like that car. Oh, wow, that girl's hot. Oh, look at that, what she's wearing. Oh, that's great, and that's great. And then you get the Ukraine, and then you get this, and then you get some limping dog, and then you get that. So you're on a mental roller coaster. Mm-hmm. You might get, and I would bet there's an algorithm that puts out, positive, depressing video, positive, depressing video, positive, depressing video. And they feed you like that to keep you hooked. It's It's a machine to keep you engaged, which means you're disengaged from everything else. You're engaged with social media. Your brain is disengaged from everything else.
What scares me the most are the conversations that I have with people that are like, I deleted Facebook or I deleted TikTok or I deleted Instagram and I felt so much better. And you're starting to hear more and more of those conversations. Like I ran into a random, like a secretary one day in an office and somehow we got on the conversation. She was like, I deleted Facebook. And she was like, I'm so much happier. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, really? Like, really? And for me, it's unfortunate. I can't delete my social media because of what I do for a living. But I also think that I look at it a little differently. Maybe because we have so many of these conversations, you know, that it's like in the back of my brain, like, this is fake. This is fake. They're setting you up. They want you addicted. Like, you know what I mean? You're a drug addict.
Basically.
Buy
this.
Yeah. Well, now that they do. That they get me on all the time. Although, shame on you. Because ManTFup has not come across my page, nor have any of the dynamism things.
Yeah, so, because fucking Facebook won't let us advertise.
I was gonna say, shame on you, because I would have probably already bought him and been like, wait a minute. I work for them. I don't why did I do that? I got bottles sitting in my living room right now. Click. But no, so they do get me with the shopping thing. So maybe that's where they've come for me for that. That's what they've come. They come to me for that.
They listen. It's from the inside of it. You could literally pick, you know, down to. I could literally pick women in Hollywood, 40 years old, single.
Why are you giving out all
no
my business?
Kids.
You want to tell them where I live too? You want to tell them exactly where I live?
I'm not talking about you. Why am I talking about you? I'm just telling you. I can pick out. You could literally pick that out, you know.
Yeah.
Men 55 and over in Fort Lauderdale that do.
But would you agree that we are past the point of no return in the sense of they have made it such an integral part of life that I don't think.
Past the point of no return. That's an interesting. I mean, are we going to eradicate social media? No. Are we past the point of no return of getting smarter about it? No, I don't think. I think people can learn, just like they've gotten hooked on it, and they realize, you know, it is a mental vacuum cleaner, basically.
Yeah.
It's sucking your brain dry of your own thoughts and your own, you know, whatever. I mean, I see it with a lot of these kids that are just in it. And listen, it's a struggle. It's a struggle with my kids. I want my kids to have what they want because, you know, if you don't give them somewhat of what life is right now, they're going to go out and get it no matter what, and you're not going to know. You know, at least we can monitor our kids' social media. We know what they're looking at. We know, you know. I mean, Joey, he's playing pool. He's doing sports. He's been building these really complex Legos. You know, it's like, and he'll sit for hours and do that.
That's good, though.
You've got to be able to have a balance of that. You can't just be. Now, I know one kid that if you take his phone away from him, he freaks out. Like, freaks out. If your kid freaks out when you take your phone away from him, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Look at it, okay? You know, if your kid can't take a shower without their phone or can't do things without their phone, there's a problem.
I also I think I worry to some degree. I remember watching a Mark Cuban video, and this was a few years ago, and he was like, within 5 years, we're going to be to a point that by the time kids get to college, there's going to be an entire psychological profile on them. Like, we're going to know if your kid's a sociopath. We're going to know what, you know, industries or fields they would excel in. We'll know, you know, what they're most likely to become addicted to. Like, literally just off of the things that you've searched, what you've watched on social, and that's what they're doing. They're building these psych profiles on people. And he's been talking about this, you know, for a long time, and he's a 1%er, and I'm sure he's invested in all of these companies, you know, but they're giving us warnings. You know what I mean? Like, the people who've created these things are out here telling us.
I mean, there's movies about the Minority Report.
Yeah.
Elysium. You know, there's movies that show where this is heading.
I just worry, like I said, we've seen it in entertainment, and I think entertainment is kind of at the forefront of this, where your social media determines your ability to get a job in a lot of situations now. Sorry, and that's expanding into the world of sales and marketing for sure. And almost any company, I mean, right down to law offices now have social media managers, right? Like, it's crazy. This is obviously it's an emerging industry. And we've seen young people be able to monetize it exponentially, which is always incredible, but it's still a 1%er thing, right? You know, like, of the billions of users on TikTok, there's not a whole lot of Addison Rays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's giving a lot of the younger generation that doesn't necessarily know how to. It's increasing that I'm this valuable mentality.
So you're looking at it as a negative.
It's a little of both. Mm-hmm. It's a little of both. I don't believe that everybody should be their own boss. You know, it's just there's not enough.
Well, it doesn't. The world doesn't work.
Like, I get it, but there's a requirement.
Yeah.
There's a requirement to being a boss and you know, running your own shit, and it's empowering a lot of people, and I'm glad they're making money off of it. But
again, we talked about this. We talked about the people that are making money off of it are working at making money off of it. The people that are turning these things into, you know, 6 and 7 and 8 figure careers are working around the clock. The folks, again, that you see with these incredible travel accounts on Instagram, I mean, these are teams of 3 and 4 people that are going on these trips. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's just being comped a hotel room, right? So it's not that the whole thing is necessarily paid for, or it's all trade, and there's very, very high expectations on behalf of these brands when they're flying you and your team to Dubai in first class on Emirates Airways. Have you ever seen the social media riders that you get from people? Even now, for me, I hosted a women's empowerment event and ended up with a whole, yes, look at you. And ended up with a whole kind of list of deliverables as far as social media went. You know, 3 3-frame IG stories before the event, and then I needed at least 1 post, you know. So there's requiring, then you don't get your money, you know. So yes, again, it goes back to that conversation that Kim Kardashian was saying. It's work, and it's time, and it's growing your craft. Nestor here is constantly evolving as, you know, an editor and as a producer and as a director, and it's new equipment, and it's investing in that equipment. Like, all of this takes money and resources and time.
And that's the flip side of the conversation we're having. Now people get fed that particular thing, and, you know, you have to be this. And they also feed it, you know, when you say it's an algorithm, that algorithm also feeds it to people who they know are going to interact with it positively or negatively.
Got you.
If they want to make it work. So you're going to get stuff that enrages you at some point. So when you say it's just an algorithm that picks this, there's somebody that can flip a switch on that algorithm going, hey, here's all the happy stuff that we're sending to all these people that we know are into the happy stuff. But if we want to change the narrative, all we have to do is send these happy people stuff we know they're not going to like. And you immediately flip the narrative to whatever you want it to be. You know, and we just saw it happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happens. Somebody is controlling what you see.
But that's because they know that you're too lazy to go outside of your
But they have an agenda.
Feed. I get that. But at the end of the day, it's all in the amount of power you're willing to give what you see.
I would just make people do stupid TikToks.
But I get that. But do you understand? But that's the point. Like, again, so as nefarious as I think you are, you're clearly not that nefarious.
No, I'd be a prankster.
You know, but you have the ability to go out and seek outside information and outside clarification. Unfortunately, we have just gotten into this instant, you know, gratification frame of mind where we want it, you know, it's my money and I want it now. That's you know, the commercials for the what are the JG Wentworth commercials or whatever. I've been spitting everywhere, by the way. I'm glad that I don't have Rona.
Did you get tested?
I did. I took one of my whatchamacallit tests.
Oh, a quick test?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
For what?
What do you mean for what? Because I want to protect my coworkers.
We don't give a shit.
Okay, well that's great. Listen, my point is we're in this space where everybody is here for the instant gratification, right? It's why they continue to sell me shit on Instagram. Because we shop now, buy now, yay, it's on its way. But anyway, that we have the ability, and that's I think when I talk about manning, like when I think about manning the fuck up, that's something I would like for people to do. I think we all need to man fuck up and be a little bit more.
Listen, as a parent,
I don't know,
to basically the first generation of social media kids, which is what I am.
Yeah.
I think because the iPhone came out in 2007. Nick was 12.
Yeah, I didn't get mine until like 2016.
Whatever. It's when it came out.
Yeah.
When it really hit
Smartphones.
When they hit. That's, so I'd like to think I'm a first generation, and Nick just barely gets, because Nick didn't get really on too much social stuff till he was a little older. But take advice from us. Limit your kids' exposure to that world. Teach your kids that this can be a tool to educate themselves. Show them how to Google who the first president was. Show them how to Google, what's the tallest mountain in the world. Show them
and also how to like check sources.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just Googling, you can't just go around Googling stuff either, Lenny. And you know that. You've got to know that you're looking at whether it's National Geographic or, an actual credible source.
Yes.
Let's teach them that too.
It's the tallest mountain in the world.
Isn't it Everest?
Hey. Deepest place in the ocean?
I don't know. And is it in the Indian Ocean?
No. Marianas Trench.
Where's that?
Pacific.
Okay. Where, though, in the Pacific? North? South? Is it?
West.
Okay.
Like,
It's not close to the Indian Ocean? The Indian Ocean's, like, really deep.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
They're all really deep.
Well, but, like...
There's the Puerto Rico Trench is pretty deep.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you go down there, you're never getting nothing. They're not finding shit down there.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
But...
Jacques Cousteau.
But the point is...
What is the point?
Teach your kids to use the tool they have as a tool.
Yeah.
And not as a drug.
Yeah.
Because it's clearly a drug if you plug them into social media.
Scary.
There's plenty of stuff. You're not going to take the phone out of a kid's hand.
No.
But put them on a math game.
Yeah, but okay, so to go back to my point about to my question about being past the point of no return, Nestor just put something on our board, and I think that we might be, or we're headed down that path. We are going to touch on it lightly, but the metaverse is a-coming. And that really frightens me because you know how I feel about even just reading books, right? We had this discussion in here, I think last week, where I was like, listening to a book on tape is not the equivalent of reading a book. Like, don't tell me you read,
a book. Just say a book.
Well, no, because I'm trying to think of a really big one, like a one.
Moby Dick. I don't know.
Moby Dick's not that big, but yeah. Don't tell me you read Barack Obama's 900-page, most recent autobiography or whatever, and Barack read it. No, Barack read it to you in the car while you were sitting on 95. You did not sit down and read and flip pages. And the metaverse, I feel like we're headed down that path too. People are going to be like, oh yeah, I was in Egypt over the weekend. No, you were in your living room and you took a trip to the pyramids. Like, did you stamp your passport? I did in the metaverse. Like, no. Like, the world is incredible and beautiful. And I know that this will open up places to people that would otherwise never be able to experience the pyramids or the Nile River or Antarctica or, Marianas Trench or whatever the case may be. But on the flip side of it, like, there is a real world happening around us every single day that is incredible, right? That involves interacting with other human beings and having real life experiences and actually going down, to the passport office and getting a real passport and getting on an airplane and having that thing stamped and feeling so incredible about it. Talk about dopamine. Going on a trip, dopamine will... on a vacation trip. Going on work trips sometimes not so much dopamine, but like there's other ways to get that high in real life.
Stimulate your brain in other ways. The problem with that is this stimulates your brain twice a minute, every minute. That's the problem. That stimulates your brain twice a minute, every minute. So, if you're flying to Rome, your shit's going to get stimulated maybe when you get on the plane, you're excited. Then you're like, fucking 8-hour flight. Then you get to Rome, you step off the plane, you're like, oh, great, yeah, da-da-da-da.
No, there's lots of dopamine.
Yeah, you understand
Rome,
what I'm saying.
Your dopamine
every couple hours.
Time.
Every couple hours. But you know what I'm saying.
I do, but it's scary because also with this, like the metaverse in particular, like the more I think about it, it's like they're still taking your money. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so in the metaverse, you're creating avatars, right? And those avatars can now walk into Nike and they can buy the latest Jordans. They can get limited edition, whatever, right? You can go to a LeBron James autograph signing, but you're going to pay to go to a fake LeBron James autograph signing in a virtual Nike store or whatever, right? And it's like, or you're going to buy a $100 bottle of wine at an incredible restaurant and drink it virtually as opposed to going to your local, Total Wine and Spirits and getting the actual bottle of wine and having your friends over and enjoy. And I get that it maybe won't cost you the exact same, but you're going to be dropping money, whether it's crypto or real, on, metaverse Adidas and metaverse Nikes and metaverse trips to Rome. And the next thing you know, I know.
You're one tripped breaker away from losing everything.
I'm telling you. Fact. You don't understand, bro. I spend enough money. I have a home design app on my phone, right? Like one where you can design rooms and stuff. Bro, if I ever told you how much money I've spent buying the little gems so I can buy the furniture, it's ridiculous. Even on Candy Crush, I re-uploaded Candy Crush to my phone, and I'm sorry, but I buy the stupid gold bricks. I can't ask my friends.
I'll tell you a trick
to
the games. You play one, then you close the app, and then you reopen it.
I'm not doing that.
Skip
Absolutely
the commercials.
not. I need the dopamine. Let's go.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Me too, Siri. Shut up. Anyway, no, but that is my
here.
But that's my fear about the meta. It's I don't
want to get into the metaverse yet, but it's not good. It's not. I mean, it's just not good. If you're gonna play video games, go to Dave & Buster's.
Well, I mean, we're long past that, but it's
you.
I think about. During pandemic, they started to see how effective this would be. I don't know if it was Call of Duty or Halo. It was one of those games.
They?
Well, people in general. I mean, it's the gaming company. Okay, DJ Khaled, relax with he relax. We all know who they is. It's everybody who's not in this room right now. They're all they. But no, Travis Scott did an in-game appearance and made $30 million, right? Because you have people all over the world who might never be able to go to a Coachella or to see him at the FTX Arena, but can pay $5.95 to jump in, while he's performing live in Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. And then they're selling the skins and the this and the that. So, I mean, we already know the potential here. But what scares me is just we already have, these generations, and it's only getting worse, of people who would rather be reclusive, right? They're more comfortable by themselves, but together, right? By themselves, but together, whether it's, together on TikTok, together on Instagram.
I mean, what this goes all the way back to Star Trek, when they would go into that room and then they would create the whole fantasy that they're in, some tropical island. And it's coming true. It's coming true. But I don't get it. I gotta have interaction.
But what is that? But how do you change that where young people want to have real life human experiences?
Sports. Anything that has to do with any kind of...
The problem is we're pricing people out of that shit. You know what I mean? What does it cost to take your family to a football game right now?
Yeah, I don't mean sports to... I mean, you're talking about to interact with your kids. I'm talking about your kids themselves. Forget about interacting with your kids. Your kids themselves need to be taught that there's other things besides that they can be entertained by.
But it's also experience. But that comes with experience. So yes, you can take your kids to the park and you can kick around a ball, and that's fantastic. But being able to go to a concert live is an experience, right? Like most people will tell you that you as an adult man still love going to live shows, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you could tell me the first concert you ever went to. I'm sure Nestor could tell me the first concert he ever went to. I mean, I know you've been to a lot because that's something that you're passionate about. But as a parent, have you shared that passion with your kids?
I took Nick to Marilyn Manson when he was like
You told me that.
13.
You guys were like in the pit,
and
right?
He was not only in the pit, he was pressed up against the railing.
DCF is coming for
and
you.
the
He's
stage.
fine. He's alive. He survived.
And then there was 2 strippers behind him, and then I was behind the strippers blocking them.
And he was living his best life.
And he was there.
So were you. You guys.
And I took Joey and Miranda to see Pitt at Hard Rock.
Okay.
Which was pretty good.
Yeah. He puts on a great show. But that to me is one of those things. It's like as parents, I think you just have to prioritize. And it's like, it doesn't have to be a $10,000 Disney vacation, but even a little staycation. And if you can save up some money, and I know that, again, that's speaking from a privileged opportunity, but I said it on the radio the other day.
Just taking your kid to the beach every Sunday.
Yes.
For free.
Yeah.
Buy them a fucking hot dog. It's the same thing. They're kids. We've talked about somewhat of this. Kids don't know the difference till they get a little older. Mm-hmm. But once you do this as a young child, it's in their brain. It's not going anywhere. So they don't start to realize that these people have nicer shit than them till they're 2 or 3 or 4 years old.
If parents can't do it, though, then what do we do? Do we... Like, is this goes back to schools? Your kids go to private school, though, so that's, again, a privileged conversation to have. But it's why field trips are important, right? Like, when you can actually take a group of kids to the aquarium, take a group of kids to the zoo, take a group of kids to the beach or to a museum, right? Like I did that. I went to public school. We used to live for field trips, but I know for a fact. I mean, my mom also had, like, a season. We had memberships to the Boston Science Museum and to things like that. But those were the things that my mother prioritized. But I know for some of my classmates, if it wasn't for that school field trip, they would have never gone to the aquarium or the science museum or been to a Red Sox game. You know what I mean?
I get it, but that is the world we live in.
No, so then we have to do it as a community. We have to prioritize, I think, giving kids experiences outside of, again, their phone. And then that will hopefully lead to some balance, right?
Maybe.
And it's mentorship.
You got to reach them all. You got to reach them all. You got to reach You've got to get out there. I mean, there's so many things. Kimmy, this is a path we shouldn't go down in this because we're just talking about social media and how it's a fucking drug. So I think we should probably. But I'd like to get into this deeper. But it goes so deep into the school system, into the whole core of neighborhoods and family.
It does.
That, this is a conversation we could have for 2 hours. It's just it's not it's on the parents. You guys need to man the fuck up. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you work 70 fucking hours a week and you're a single fucking mother. Take your kid to the park for 15 fucking minutes and just show them the outdoors and just be with them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need to do. 15 minutes.
Engage them in conversation.
Yes. That's it. Start there. Start small. Forget about being able to go to a park. Yeah. Should aquariums be open 1 day a week for free for people to come?
And like
Absolutely.
You said, and we can for sure have that conversation.
But the parent can grab their child by the hand and take them for a walk anytime they want.
But my point was just to say, like, while this is a drug, you can also trigger those same feelings in real life away from a phone just by spending time with the people that you care about, right? Like, and sometimes that starts just by giving them the attention at the dinner table. No phones at dinner, right? Or the car ride home. Put your phone down. We're going to talk about your day, that engaging in the conversation, giving them that ability to discern between reality and this false, fictitious narrative that is being, like you said, curated and fed to them.
I go to work at 6:30 every morning.
Yeah.
I know what time my kids get in the car. I call them every day on their way to school. with, happy fucking Tuesday,
He probably says it like that too.
And, every day. It's just, it's that little bit makes that dopamine trigger in their head.
Yep.
Because their dad just called them and told them to
Yep.
have a good day at school.
Yep.
And then he loved them, period.
Yeah.
That replaces that.
You be the addiction, not social media. Because
There you go.
You are up against
Let's end on
an
that.
animal. I love it. Yeah, so that's that. We clearly have other conversations we can have on this topic, and I'm sure we will on the ManTFup podcast. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, comment on the YouTube video. Please comment on our social media at ManTFupTV. We love to hear from you. We love the feedback. We love your insights. Sometimes the things that you say lead to other spin-off conversations. Go ahead, Len. I know you want to say it.
Okay.
He's like a little freaking kid, bro. I can't stand it.
If you have any comments, please feel free to email us at KimmyB@ManTFupTV.com.
It's a wrap.
Peace.